So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. This is Three Best Ways Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Shon Tillman, and I'm a digital marketing genius with true digital marketing here in Houston, Texas, where we're broadcasting live. So I'm here and I'm joined with my friends, Demetri and Katrina, and I will pass it to Katrina first.
Hello, my name is Katrina Keys, and I own NIA 5.0, and also I own C&D HR Consulting, where I am able to impact lives by building relationships and making connections.
And I'm Demetri Chambers. I am a business attorney and problem solver. I've been practicing business law for 28 years now, representing small to mid-sized businesses in all types of business transactions and complex commercial litigation. And I enjoy what I do.
All right, sweet. So here we are in the building, right? And our motivation for this podcast is to be able to help small business owners as many ways as we possibly can, right? So great advice from a marketing standpoint, great advice to help protect your business from a law background, and another way of growing your business and protecting your business and being great with your employees is where Katrina comes in. So today we have a really cool guest, and I would like for her to introduce herself.
My name is Ezenwanyi Abii. I am the owner and then principal attorney at Abii & Associates based in Houston, Texas. Abii & Associates is what I consider a holistic entrepreneurs law firm, which is we provide business services, but in addition to just your business in terms of registration, contracts, negotiations, trademarks when applicable, we also help you get your estate plans together, because a lot of times business owners don't think about progression and transitions. So we help you work on your estate plans and your real estate, if that happens to be the space that you're into.
Nice. So this makes you...
Okay, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I wanted to say welcome you to our podcast. Really excited to have you here. And, my journey to meeting you was at a networking event that Katrina told me to show up to. Demetri was also there. And it was a great atmosphere. It was a great chance to meet you, and just, really cool that we could circle back and have this opportunity to bring you on. So I guess it's my turn, or I set off the question thing, right? My first question is, just with your description alone, like your 30-second elevator pitch is very impactful. And it sounds very motivating at the same time. I wanted to know, what inspired you to start your firm and go into business for yourself?
What inspired me? I would say the principle of self-actualization, which, well, depends on where you are. You've probably come across it. If not, you haven't. But just the idea of reaching your personal highest potential. I have always considered working for myself and building something as opposed to helping others build something. But it was a huge leap for me to eventually get to the point where I said, you know what, I've put all the foundational things in place. Now it's my desire and my goal to actually start to build. So that, I think that would be my greatest motivator, to get to where the dream that I had for myself.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to say something about how I felt when I met you, and you're unique because we're going to have a lot of guests, but I don't know if we'll have many more guests that we all met at the same time. We were all at a networking after hours gathering. And I know for me, when I got there, as I introduced myself to people, people would say, well, there's a business attorney over there. Several people pointed to you. So I made it a point to meet you afterward. And I'll tell you how I felt. I felt that if I had her energy when I was getting started as a young attorney, that I would be way down the line now. And I'll say this about networking in general. And Katrina, we've had many discussions about this. Networking is powerful. And to see you there networking the way you are, the way you were that night, I said, if I'd have been that way, I'd probably be retired by now. So then the other thing is that when we all talked about you, we all agreed that, did you guys see that sister at at the gathering, and it was without exception that you should be on the show. So we're so glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your background. What have you.
All right, I'll try to keep it brief. Little bit. Ezenwanyi Abii, I'm Nigerian by heritage. I was born in Nigeria. Actually, spent my early formative years in Nigeria. Moved to the U.S., finished high school, college, and law school in Houston, and decided to explore somewhere else. So I finished my MBA at Howard in D.C. and spent some time in the D.C. area before life eventually brought me back to Houston, Texas. In terms of myself, I have a JD MBA background, so it's I've always been interested in the law, but also in business and in helping people build businesses, and of course build businesses myself. I call myself a little bit of a diverse legal person, because as much as I like the law, I also like a lot of creative things. So personally, I like to paint. I've published some poems. I've done podcasts. So circling back to the self-actualization thing, I really do believe that whatever it is that you want to do, you owe it to yourself to give it a shot and to try, right? The worst that could happen, it doesn't take off and change the world, but at least you never know, you might impact one person, and I think that is enough. So in a nutshell, I am a self-driven, motivated, and really adventurous spirit, and building a law practice is my retirement job. I was at a corporate world for about 9-10 years, and I just got to the point where I put things I consider the right things in place, paid off the debt, the savings, had the kids, did the marriage, all of that. And now I think it's time to really grow something that will be easier for me and natural for me, and something I intend to do until I die, and it doesn't feel like pressure. And I say death, it sounds hard, but really the point is, this is what I intend to do with my life, and that is that's exciting for me, to be able to be there at this point in my life and take more control of what happens next.
Okay, so how would you describe your best work?
My best work would be work, I believe, that is impactful to the person I'm serving. So in this industry, we're in an industry of service where whatever we do can really help or change someone's life, or change their patterns, or change the next step they take, or cause problems for them. So in a general sense, my best work is individual, where I see what the person needs and I can address what their concerns are in a way that makes sense to them and in a way that benefits them in the long run. My goal isn't to do work very quickly or make as much money off of a deal or off of a project. My goal is to build relationships and to build partnerships and to help someone say, you know what, that thing you did for me 4 or 5 years ago, I still remember because it was that impactful for me. That's what I consider my best work. I'm not sure if you wanted specific examples, but really the nutshell is that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. We met, and we had, at the beginning of all this, everything that's going on is when we met, I think. And it's been your energy, I have high energy, so I always love when people mirror my energy, because I make people tired, and you didn't make me tired, and I didn't make you tired, so it's great. So thank you for sure for spending this time with us today. So, I'm a networker. This is what I do. I'm an HR person. That's my background. So you already know. I'm going to the heart of the questions for me, right? So my first question to you is, what are some common misconceptions that you've encountered when you tell people this is what I do? Because a lot of times when, you tell people, oh, I'm a business attorney or I'm an attorney, they have their already preconceived notions. So what's some misconceptions you've run into so far?
Wow, that's a good hard one. Misconception. So it's a little tricky because you're catching me right at what I consider the beginning stages of what I'm trying to do. So I think starting off, it has been surprising to tell people that I had a pretty good job at top 10 Fortune 10 company, or Fortune 15 now maybe, and I chose to retire from it or to quit at the point where I'm doing this, to start my own small law firm. I'm not going to join a big practice. I'm not trying to sell myself to someone, but I'm looking to build something of mine. I think that becomes the biggest thing. Like, are you sure? Why do you want to do this? I mean, where you are paid well, you're doing okay. So the misconception that success has to fit a certain formula or a certain space and has to look a certain way is the biggest thing, I feel. Most people don't understand that I can say success is being able to wake up and open my office at 9:30 if I want to, and working till 11 p.m. if I want to. But that definition is really the trickiest thing, I guess, having to define success and having others try to understand what it means when it doesn't fit their natural model for what success is.
All right, awesome.
I agree. I think that success is very personal. It's very true to yourself. And whenever you're doing something that you love, that you're passionate about, it's not even work anymore. It's like this really cool thing that you get to do, and you get to do it as much as you want, and you can afford to take care of yourself doing it, right? It's not like you're a broke artist. So I agree with that completely. As a entrepreneur, what is some of the slippery slope sides of your business? Like, what I mean by that is I believe with great responsibility comes great power comes great responsibility. So for me, some of the downsides of me being an entrepreneur is time management.
Yeah, so that was going to be my first answer. Time management, knowing when to quit and when to actually take time out for yourself. In the past few months, the biggest thing has really been telling myself, I can tell you, so we're recording this, but this past weekend, I had to tell myself to turn off, right? Like shut off. It's a Sunday, it's a holiday or something, just turn off. You don't, whatever it is will not, if you don't do it this instant, it won't crash and burn. So, and as you say, it's something you enjoy doing and you find some passion and excitement in it. So sometimes you forget that there are parts of your life that may be just drifting away because you're not putting attention to it. So yes, time management. I've also found process creation, process definition, that becomes a slippery slope because you could actually die in process creating. So there's this constant thing of, okay, I want to improve, I want to make things better, I want to make sure that this is working the right way. And here we are kind of turning over and over again, trying to get the perfect process in place so things become easier in the future. And it's all great. But once again, at some point, you have to, I tell myself at some point, perfect not be the enemy of good. Let's just get it good right now. And then in time, it would improve, as opposed to us sitting there and trying to drill it down to the bone until it's perfect. Those are two of the slippery slopes I see, because as an entrepreneur, trying to do it all yourself all the time.
Okay. You may have already answered this question, but I love what you're saying about process. I wish that I had thought that way a long time ago. But what would you consider to be your next level of growth? It may be process. For some lawyers, it's I need to hire someone to help me. Some need technology platforms. So for you, what would you say is your next level of growth in terms of what do you need to get to the next level?
Okay. Let's see. What my next level of growth and what I need to get to the next level. I think I'm pretty sort of set up in the process space. There might be some tweaking that I might want to do again. But as of this morning, I took on a couple of interns that will help me kind of, build and also get them some experience as well. The next level I would imagine is creating enough space to be able to help and pull other people in. I don't want to say hiring someone, because maybe it might be something of a contractor who joins me or who helps me with something, but it's really setting up what the web or what the network would look like, right? So I have a virtual paralegal, I have a virtual assistant, and now I'm bringing interns in. Maybe by the fall, depending on how things go, I might have someone else who is a part of the village, but may not necessarily be with me. I imagine that's what would happen next, because as I grow and I begin to take more on, I will probably need some consistency as to people that can help the machine function, because I can't do all the little details by myself.
Great.
I think you talked about this a little bit. I just want you to elaborate. I'm all about impact. And, one of my mottos I tell people all the time is I impact lives. One person at a time, one connection at a time, one Zoom at a time at this point, right? And so, share a little bit more about what you're doing and how you're impacting lives via your business.
Okay, so I'll take a couple different clients that I've worked with in the most recent few weeks. So one person comes to me and they want to set up a business. They want to structure a business a certain way, and we get it with a conversation. We find out, okay, this is a side business, not the main job. They also have children who we find aren't as motivated to be a part of it. And we begin to talk about, okay, so how about we consider partnerships and having your children be either members of the LLC or partners of your business on a very small, minor scale. And I find that so I also try not to charge hourly. I think that's something that may be different for other attorneys, but because of the relationship aspect of what I want to do, I know I will invest more time in the beginning just to get across to people the way I want to get across to them. So that being said, I'm talking to someone who calls me and they want to set up a business. From there, we're going into having their children be a part of their business, and we're talking into transitions of really what financials and funds, and maybe my business background helps, because it's like, okay, so where do we put the profits for your kids if you don't want them to get access to it early? Now we're talking estate planning or trust creation. So we've gone from just doing this simple setup of a business to actually having you plan for your business, plan for your family, and really plan for your future in one relationship. So in that sense, that's how I find that I impact people, right? I'm a realtor as well. So someone comes to me, oh, I want to buy a house and I want to do A, B, and C. And from a conversation, I think, well, do you really want to buy a house, or do you want to maybe put some money out here to invest in some property that's maybe a duplex that you can rent out and live in one? Do you want to buy some land and potentially build? Do you want to put some money aside here? So the conversations always stretch beyond what people think they're coming to me for. And I find that it helps me impact them. It helps me give them a different perspective on some things. And in some cases, it may not be what they want, but I've also just helped them expand their influence, their realm of influence, just with the conversations that we're having. So that's how I'm hoping to do it, one interaction at a time, depending on what each person needs.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I was just taking a moment because I was impacted by that whole answer. With that being said, as a potential client, let's say, how do I know if I'm ready to meet with you and move forward? Like, what is the right client for you look like?
Right now, well, I would say my right client there might be 3 or 2 different right clients, and I'll explain a bit further. So generally, most people will come to me because I do market as a real estate attorney and a business attorney. I find a lot of my clients are people that are in the real estate business side. They're trying to create some sort of real estate business. Some people come to me when they have no idea how to get started. So we're doing formations. Sometimes there are multiple people in the partnership. We're discussing if they're trying to do a syndicate or just a partnership, and how really they're trying to structure their business. Then, because I have the real estate background, we begin to discuss, okay, investments. Where are you looking to invest? What part of town? What sort of projects? Are you trying to wholesale? Are you trying to buy and flip? Are you trying to build and rent out? So we begin to talk those real estate strategies as well. So some of my clients do come from that angle. And I have the estate planning part of what I do. So there are some people who come to me just for estate planning purposes, and based on the conversation, it happens, wait, you know what? Actually, if I'm creating a trust, I could think of real estate trusts and what I can do for my family. So it usually starts in one center and then begins to kind of migrate into different services. Or, someone comes up, who register their business, then they come back and they actually want to do a real estate deal, and they can still come to me as well. And after that, we're doing deed transfers, or we're doing transfers, or trying to protect parents. And I still use a tagline, a holistic approach to the lawyering for an entrepreneur, but it is sort of like that. It's a big web of things that happen with mostly small business owners, entrepreneurs, and that's where we get started. So the ideal person might be an entrepreneur who's either already established or trying to figure out how to really move forward.
Okay, very cool.
That was a long answer to your short question.
I appreciate the detail.
Yes.
You're welcome.
What would you consider to be your greatest challenge at this point in your career as an attorney?
Ooh, my greatest challenge, beyond getting my processes together. Let's see. Figuring out marketing, to be honest. Figuring out marketing. Because what I do or what I'm trying to do is a little different. Different in the sense that I really haven't seen one person trying to package the way I'm trying to package. And maybe that's because it's a little difficult to market what I'm trying to package. So trying to either determine, do I cut off some of my all exciting packages and things, and do I sort of shrink what I'm trying to do to focus on one thing and just market that one thing? And I'm sure every entrepreneur, this happens to them eventually. Like, how do you define what you're serving in a way that still excites you while also serving the people you're trying to reach? I think that's probably my biggest challenge right now. I'll give myself about 12 weeks to figure it out. But yeah, that's the thing. How do I sell what I'm doing?
In fact, we talked about this a little the other day. Why I told you that for me, if I go to a networking meeting and if I were to say I'm a family attorney, people would know exactly what I'm talking about. If I said a bankruptcy attorney, they would know what that is. If you said even a real estate attorney, people would know what that is. But people, when you say I'm a business attorney, people don't know what you're talking about until they have a particular need that they would go to a business attorney for. So that's our challenge, and together we'll figure it out.
We'll try for sure.
For any of our listening audience that wonders, why would Demetri have another business attorney on the show? Well, I'll say this. The only competitor that I have is Demetri Chambers. I've got enough on my plate every day to make Demetri do what he's supposed to do. He's my only competitor, and he's the only person that can get in my way. So I'm so glad I met you, because there will be times where we can collaborate, we can get thoughts from each other, and maybe even make referrals to each other, because everybody's not for me. And sometimes it's better to send someone to someone else who can better serve them. So I'm so glad to have met you. Yes.
Thank you. Likewise.
I think the other thing, Demetri, is just the networking piece, right? You know, that's what we do. You know, all three of us talked about that. We all met from a whole networking experience. So I think that's the other piece that makes it possible for us to have people that do what we do, because, you know, it's one relationship at a time. You know, I meet people that do the same thing all the time, but I meet someone and I'm like, oh, they're a fit for this person over here, not for this person over here. How do I know that? Conversation, connecting, really getting to know people. So I think that's really key. My, you know, question next is just about passion. You know, I feel it, I hear it, you know, I just want you to share your passion with us, you know, and why you're so passionate about this, and why do you do what you do?
Well, there's the personal side, and then there is also the people I'm serving, right? For me, as I mentioned, autonomy, self-actualization, really just trying to do something that I went to school. I always knew I wanted to be in this space of the service, helping. It comes naturally for me. But I also knew I wanted to do it in a way that excited me, where I didn't feel like I was just pushing paper or going through a certain format day in, day out. So the only thing that made sense was to create my own thing, to create it how I see it and how I can connect with people and actually address people's questions without having to seem that I was distant from them. For the general public side, it is a lot of times people get entrepreneurs, small business owners, but people get stuck not doing something because they don't know who can help them, right? They don't know who can help them, or they see people who can help them, but they don't know how to access them. And I feel being a small business owner or an entrepreneur, and also having the history that I've had between the corporations and all the other things that I have done, I'm able to connect with each individual where they are and not seem like I am too far removed from the people that they're dealing with. So if someone comes to me and they want to start a business, I can talk to them about, here, I have tried to do it. I have done it before. So this is something that I can really understand the challenges you're having or the questions you're having, and I can talk to you on that level. I want to be able to be a resource to people in my generation, in my group, in my class, women entrepreneurs, minority entrepreneurs who don't do things because they don't have the resources. I mean, I can have a client who came to me, oh, I got into this deal with someone, they gave me $100K, I didn't get any contract signed, and now there's this other stuff going on. And my question becomes, okay, yeah, you need partnership agreements, you need some kind of agreement to get into things like that. Don't just do it because it's easy and you don't know well, and don't just pull stuff off the internet if you don't know what it means and you don't know what things are. I want to be accessible where someone can come and say, here, this is a question. Yeah, I will pay for your time a little bit, but how can you help me make sure I'm doing it well enough to protect myself and my business and my family with whatever I'm doing? I just want to be a resource. I am happy being a resource to others.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think I'm long-winded.
No, not at all. Everything you're sharing.
How was I even talking?
The goal of this podcast is for business owners to share their experience, because there's someone out there that there's little piece of what you just said is going to inspire them to pick up that phone and call that business attorney, call you, call Demetri, because maybe they were scared before. They didn't know. And they said, I don't want someone to look down on me and say, oh, you should have known that or whatever. Right. I have my own internal fears with certain things, and so it's awesome when I meet someone that can give me that insight or guidance. Right. And I didn't, I was like, okay, I was nervous about asking that question, but then they make you totally comfortable. I wanted to say one more thing that I thought was really interesting. It ties back to what Demetri said about the whole networking piece. When you jumped in there and started networking, how was that first experience when you really got out there and said, I want to do this and I'm going to network my business?
Well, so interesting enough that you guys all remember me from that one day. That was the day after I turned in my resignation letter. So there was this extra fire of like, well, dang, in about a month, you're not going to have a paycheck. You better be out here trying to meet people. Even if they don't turn into clients, you could meet people that could eventually do something, because your behind is going to be out of a paycheck in a month. So let's get it together. I was nervous, extremely nervous, but I think just as we're talking, it's this shove. Like, you have to shove yourself into uncomfortable situations if you're going to grow beyond where you are. And at the time, even now, as we're talking, it's only been a few months, I have come out of this shell and protection of a strong corporate culture to the ocean being, I'm working for myself, I'm figuring out when I'm supposed to pay taxes and whatever. And all of that is happening while, of course, now we have a pandemic going on. So at the time, not knowing what was to come, it was just this intense desire to knowing I have no choice. I have to join the swim. I have to join the current. Whatever is going on, I have to do it. I cannot sit back and let the current move without me, because the idea is not to be small. The idea is to get out there and get something big started quickly. So I was very nervous. It just didn't show at the time.
Well, you sure didn't.
Well, I'm really impressed with you in terms of the networking. And I'll say that because attorneys don't generally do that. Attorneys generally, the thinking is, hey, I'm an attorney. The business will come because I'm an attorney. And so you're already out there, and I just think that's great. Keep up the good work. It saved my business. Long story short, my wife had a very rare medical condition, still has it. And so when she started getting better, I started networking, and it saved my business. For me, it's what helped me to survive, because you meet so many people. Networking is not just about you. It's about the people you can help and the people you can learn from. I learned so much about businesses and how small to mid-sized business owners think and deal with things. And it helped me to serve them when they came my way. So you're getting off to a great start.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to add my 2 cents on networking is definitely not only to help grow my business, but to sustain it at the same time.
Yes.
Once I started looking at networking as a way of building relationships rather than trying to close sales, it started to be a gift that continues to give back to me, right? So one of the other reasons why we wanted to start this podcast is because we know that good news travels fast as well. So people can share this content with their friends. You can take the link and send it in a text message, an email, whatever it may be. My last question was going to be more about the marketing side of your business because it is so unique. But when you're ready after this 12 weeks of, stuff that you're going through, feel free to give me a phone call. Advice is free. And, the one thing I will say about having a unique service or a unique product, that there is a market for your business as long as there is enough people here on this earth still running around in need of things, and there's always going to be a market for your product or service. I think the beauty of it is being able to be different, to shine that difference. And with customer service and the hand-holding approach that you have with your clients right now, I think that there's nothing but a paved road of goal success for you. So on that note, I'm Shon Tillman with True Digital Marketing. You can follow me on LinkedIn as Shon Tillman. Twitter is Shon_Tillman, and you can follow us at True Digital at www.truedigitalmarketingmktg, short source marketing, mktg.com.
And I'm Demetri
Keys. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm Demetri Chambers. You can find me at walkerchambers.com, email dc@walkerchambers.com, phone number 832-925-8337. And you can also find me on LinkedIn.
I'm Katrina Keys, and I have Network in Action, NIA 5.0, and C&D HR Consulting. You can find me on LinkedIn at Katrina Keys, or you can email me at katrina@networkinaction.com.
Okay.
Thank you all. And I'm Ezenwanyi Abii. Last name is Abii. The firm site is abiilegal.com, and on LinkedIn and Instagram, I think on my active spaces, Abii Legal is the contact name, Abiilegal, Abii Legal. Thank you.